Abimbola Olu in the building. Good evening, BYZ. Welcome on board.
Yeah, good evening, Rolly Bello. Good evening to you all. Good to be here as always.
On behalf of everybody, good evening to you. And yes, BYZ, I was just telling you, we're going to do something a little different on tonight's The Other News. As you know, Saturday, 6th of February, is the day that's been designated to mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. And seeing as it's all about women and the girl child, and we're not going to be on air on Saturday. So I thought it was a good idea to, get together and talk about it today. And we're joined by two ladies from One Life Initiative, and they're going to be talking with us through this year's theme for female genital mutilation. So before we dive into it, BYZ, FGM in 2021, would you still think that people, will be practicing female genital mutilation in 2021 in this, as we call it, civilized day and age?
Well, I think we would really be deceiving ourselves if we say it won't be practiced, especially in Nigeria, because we all are not civilized. That's the truth.
Ouch.
We can't compare ourselves to the first class nations, and I don't know about the second class, but we are third. And, it is so third that we still, I remember like 10 years or 15 years, maybe 15, 16 years ago in Lagos, there was a part of Lagos where women were going out without dresses. They were going out bare, like you could.
Like naked?
Yes.
In Lagos?
Yes.
Okay, scary.
Yes. And they were just covering the lower part
of their body.
And the upper parts
they have abule
really
in Lagos.
bare.
Oh, no, you're lying.
It is in the Makoko area of Lagos.
Okay.
Like, do you understand?
Okay.
So I really can't. We're not civilized, and that's why we believe that there's still a need for more sensitization and more awareness as far as FGM is concerned.
So talking about my ladies from One Life Initiative, I've got Dorcas Famuyegun and Tamilore Omojola in the building. Good evening. Welcome on board.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
See how their voices are sweet, they are soft. Okay. Welcome, ladies. So we're talking about FGM 2021, COVID-19. We're in a pandemic. What's the theme for this year?
Okay. The theme for this year is No Time for Global Inaction. Unite, fund, and act to end FGM.
No time for global inaction. Unite, fund
and act to end FGM.
And act to end FGM. Obviously, we're in special times right now because we're in a pandemic, and I'm sure that in itself is part of the reason why we have to keep, these conversations going, because regardless of what's happening with coronavirus and the lockdown, those that are still practicing FGM are going to find a way to practice FGM, and we want to be sure that, those that need help get the help that they need and the resources that they need, where applicable. So what would you say are some of the things that you guys have witnessed, experienced in your work surrounding or regarding FGM in the last 12 months?
Okay, we've had a lot of engagement at schools, at the community level, at One Life Initiative in the last 1 year. We had engagement with students on our School Connect project, where we talked to them during our comprehensive sexuality education program about female genital mutilation, the danger, and some of them don't even know about it. So some of them had to go and check themselves, have they been caught or not. So it's raised that awareness and we know that these secondary school students are the ones that would become mothers in future. So we are preparing them so that when they start having their own family, nobody will come and tell them that you come and circumcise a female child. So they already know this information. Then we took it further, especially when coronavirus happened and there was lockdown. So we had to engage community people. Late last year we engaged men.
Okay.
So this time around we trained men as FGM advocates.
Okay. So
and that was the highlight of it, because these men actually now just talk to people at their own community level. Okay, this is this. They should not circumcise a female child, and we have been having interesting conversation. So we even went to the community to get like real life experiences, people that have done FGM to somebody they know, or they have somebody around, or even survivors themselves. So we have some of stories that we're going to air this evening. So and this make it it's showing so that okay, this is real, this is still happening. Although on the globally we have seen that there is a decline, and even in Nigeria, according to NDHS 2018, we have a 5% decrease. Before it was 25%. Now we have 20% prevalence in Nigeria. So and generally between for your young girls less than 19, the percentage is actually way lower than the older folks. So that means the rate at which
younger
FGM,
girls are getting circumcised in our
it's lower,
generation is
but
lower.
that doesn't mean that it has stopped. And we really need to work to actually speed up the rate at which this practice is eradicated.
Very nicely said. Thank you very much for your thoughts on that and the work you guys have been doing in the last 12 months. You said that in the last 5 years, you guys have in the last 2 years, according to NDHIS survey, in the last 5 years, we've experienced a decline in the prevalence in Nigeria. Would you say that that's more in the rural areas or in the peri-urban areas and even in the cities like Ibadan here? I
would say it cuts across. So because FGM is a cultural thing. So, okay, yes, we might say it's happening more in the rural and peri-urban area, but relatively, we don't really have many urban area like that in Nigeria.
That's what I said about not being
still alive. By the time you get to even the urban, you just say, like, okay, I thought it was an urban area. So, and there's it's a cultural thing. So some people, even though they've gone to school, we've had a case of a lecturer that actually still wants to cut a child that the organization had to actually come in. So it's not a matter of how schooled you are. We had a case, this year a woman in Kenya was actually indicted for performing FGM on a girl. She took the girl out. That was in 2016, and they convicted her
just this year.
Yes. So and they took her out. She took the girl out of the US to perform FGM, but when she brought her back, they still tracked it down. So it's not a matter of you're living in the rural or urban area.
Wait, let me get that right. This family lived abroad. They were living in America.
Yes.
So they came back on holiday.
No, they're actually not Nigerians.
Whatever the case is, they left Yankee to go to their own country to go and perform FGM.
So people do that, especially when it comes to holiday season. And this COVID actually have exposed a lot of children, a lot of younger population, because they are now at home. So like there's an opportunity for you to say, what are you even doing up and down? It's not for us to circumcise you. It's easy to just and pick them. They're not going to school, so they say, okay, there's even time for you people to heal up, because most times they want to do it for those that are actually a bit older, maybe during their holiday when they will not have so much activities going around. But now, as we have increase in domestic violence and other issues, sexual and reproductive health issues, the pandemic also can actually increase it. And UN has estimated like a 2 million extra that might happen because of
the
COVID-19.
global pandemic.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, I know that our laws are supporting, the cause that you guys are fighting, the no to female genital mutilation, and it is now a crime in Nigeria. But have you had cases where people are being indicted truly here in the country? Are people really coming out to say, oh, I know of a neighbor who has done this to our daughter, and we want you guys to take it up?
Okay, I would say because the issue is a very familiar issue. It has to do with family. When it comes to implementation of the law, I don't think we've done so much. So on Life Initiative, we sent out an FOI to request for, we want to know the number of cases of FGM, but we couldn't get get the track record
from
so that means there's no record of and
any.
And we need to actually do more. So and it's not only, this issue is not about Nigeria alone. FGM is although it is predominant in Africa, but
it happens in Asia as well,
across
Europe as well.
The world, especially now that there's globalization. People are moving in, so people are traveling with their culture, so they are spreading the practice actually. So we've had different cases like this case I was talking about. That was the first time that she would be they would have a kind of charge like this, that they'll be indicting somebody for transporting a girl. So and we are like, why is this just happening? And they've had this law since. So okay, for instance, to Portugal, they've had their law since 2015. The first conviction is happening this year. That's like 5 years. When they actually sentenced the woman to 3 years jail imprisonment because she circumcised her daughter.
In Portugal.
Yes.
Fantastic. I saw some things in the papers last year about traditional rulers, and I think in particular this was in the east of the country, and how one particular part in the east, they came out and said no more FGM. Was that in Imo State?
Yes.
Okay, so are we getting a lot of support from our traditional rulers in local communities, or is that something that was just unique to that
the
particular community
people
in Imo State? I think Tamilore has something to say.
Yes, so first off, I'd like to say it's not enough for the traditional rulers to come out to make a public declaration about ending or stopping FGM in their community. This thing starts with us. We need to focus on the demand side. If there is no demand for FGM, then these people will probably not even do it. So we need to focus on it. Just last year also, some traditional rulers in Oyo State also made public declarations about, as in we've had public declarations over and over again, but still it boils down to everyone as an individual before it even gets to us as a family or as a community. Sometimes an individual doesn't even want the practice to be done on her daughter, but then because that's what they do in her husband's family, she just has to go. As in the patriarchal system that we are, is just it just messes us up, and it makes us to actually make decisions that are not even good for our children.
Okay. I like that.
I'd like to add to what she said. You mentioned that it's not limited to the rural area; it's in the urban area, the so-called urban areas too. But I feel that those in the urban areas, in the cities such as Ibadan, are closer to information, and somehow they get to know. And even when they want to do it, they don't want to do it in the open. But in the rural, everybody knows about it, so it's not so hidden. Okay, even when they know it is wrong. How much information is available to them, and what is One Life Foundation doing to get this information to the people that need it most?
Actually, research has proven that education and location of residence influences FGM. So where somebody is located and the level of education can determine if the person will cut a child or not. So, but when I'm talking about the fact that our setting in Nigeria is interwoven, right here, are we going to call Ibadan rural or urban or peri-urban?
It's the ancient city. Let's just leave it there. It's a mix of the two.
Urban rural. Because right here in Ibadan last year, International Day of Zero Tolerance to end FGM, we went to a community, Ajia community, in our local government, just not too far from the city here, and we had a woman telling us that, are you going to assure me that if I don't cut my child, nothing will happen to her? So we could see the relief on the face of the nurses, that thank God somebody's coming to tell them. We've been telling them. So they at least we have some trained medical practitioners at the primary health care centers, informing them that don't do this, don't cut your child. But because some of them just believe that they have to do it, and then aside from going to the community to do community sensitization, we also did sensitization at the school level in that community. Then we keep having media engagement, social media, and also even on radio,
like what you're doing now,
right now,
on the People's FM.
And actually I would want to appreciate the Fresh FM, and so for giving us this opportunity to actually speak about it. So everybody is working together to ensure that we actually bring this practice to an end. And for instance, now the case of the Young Men Network Against SGB, that's sexual and gender-based violence, that they are working as end-FGM advocates. So that's also one of the things that we've done. They are working at their community level. So they just move around associations, group of women, group of men, because we know that if men say no, women can't do it. So it's
wow. So would you say men or women are more, the perpetrators of this FGM? Do you think that if women came together and said, no, we're not going to do it, regardless of whether it's my husband's culture or my religious or whatever I believe, this thing will stop? Or do you think it's the men that makes it so that it's still being practiced? Because both of you sort of have said that this is pretty much, I've said it's not going to stop if men do not agree and do not support us.
I think it's really about the society we're in.
Yes. So actually, I think it depends on the family.
Okay.
So we've had cases whereby a woman would actually say, no, this is my child. Even if the man believe. We had a case like a woman called from even outside Ibadan, from Aguare, that okay, she doesn't want to cut her child. She just needs a key, like, information about it, and she said okay, she's going to continue protecting her child. So, and okay, we also had a live story of a woman that the husband family said we circumcise females. Well, it was a sad story because the girl died and it actually caused a whole lot of like a breakage in that home. So like it's not like we can't say men or women. We can say it's a culture, and it depends from one family to another. But the basic truth is that okay, we can say men are decision makers, so they can influence ending FGM. So at the same time, we all need to join hands, both men and women, to actually end this practice.
Okay, I'm actually very curious about what you tell these people when you're telling them about FGM and why they need to stop it. I mean, it's always very difficult to change one's orientation and cultural beliefs of many years, and some of them would show you evidences of those that done it and nothing had happened to them, and they're married, they're living their life. So what do you tell them? How do you convince them, especially for those that are listening now and they're thinking, okay, you're saying this is bad, but why is it bad?
Okay, so for context, I think we should even understand what FGM is.
Exactly.
So FGM is female genital mutilation. It's also called female circumcision or cutting, and it's usually called circumcision because there's male circumcision. So people believe since you circumcise the male child, then you should the female child. But then FGM is you're altering the female genitalia of the female child. Like you're destroying it. That's what it technically means.
For no medical reason.
Yes, for no medical reason. And it's even a violation. Internationally, it's regarded as a violation for on the human rights of the child. So even before this child is grown, you've already violated her. Like you've left her with a scar that she lives with. So most times, we help them to understand through values clarification. We help them to see the reasons why FGM is not good. So, and majorly, we tell them about the consequences of FGM. There are long and short-term consequences. Like they include painful urination when the child is done, and then sometimes large keloids, that's big scars, usually grow on that part of the body of the child, and also infections sometimes too, and even
difficulty in procreating, and also
that's like complications during giving birth, and sadly sometimes it leads to death. But then they'll probably not even really talk about that because nobody really wants to talk bad against the tradition.
And we need to speak about the fact that also it affects the woman's sexual health in terms of having a full healthy adult sexual life.
Yes. And someone might even say, we've been talking about this for so long. Yes, we've been talking about this, but then there are still people who do it and they are fine. They're totally fine. Majorly, we also use stories of people who have actually been mutilated and are actually battling with the consequences now. So I'm sure later during the radio session we are going to play some audio
vox pops for you to listen to some people's real life experiences and health workers as well, and some of the things that those health workers have experienced concerning FGM. But before we get into that, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dorcas and Tamilore. Both of them are from One Life Initiative. I'm here, I'm Rolake Bello, and I've got BYZ in the building.
Baby.
Don't go anywhere. This is Fresh 105.9 FM. We'll be right back.
My country people.
Nigeria na him be oga for the wahala of court of punani for the world wey oyinbo man dey call female genital mutilation FGM. Mama pale plus everybody dem. Make I tell una say if you dey do this kind bad thing, na be say una dey trespass on top our girl pikin plus women dem right to. This kind bad thing sef dey make women no dey fit born pikin, dey make omoyan no dey sweet for dem, even sef fit cause make woman kpai. Make una no forget say na ogbonge lie say woman pikin wey dem no cut her punani go dey follow man up and down. And make una remember say woman wey wan follow man go dey follow am wella. Country people, time don reach o wey this kind yamayama thing must stop. Oya, make we gather and join body come pursue this kind thing comot for we area patapata. Make we see say our girls and women dey safe papampa for this court wey oyinbo man dey call female genital mutilation. Unto say injury to one woman na injury to we society o. This message na from One Life Initiative for Human Development.
It's 4 minutes past 8 on the clock on Fresh 105.9 FM. Welcome back to the other news extra on the road show. Yeah. Yes, I've got BYZ in the building, Amralake, and I have Doka Santamilore representing One Life Initiative on the show tonight. And together we're talking about female genital mutilation or cutting. And before that commercial break, we're talking about exactly what female genital mutilation means and how, you know, all the work that's being done by NGOs, especially like One Life Initiative and the media, because BYZ and I, we've hosted them together many times. We've talked about it many times on the program as well. And the 6th of February, every single year is the day that has been set aside, you know, to end female genital mutilation for desensitization and to create awareness and to basically shed light on those that, you know, might be going through things because of this practice. Female genital mutilation is an extreme form of discrimination against women, reflecting deep-rooted gender inequality. Evidence shows that COVID-19 is worsening existing gender and social inequalities. WHO strongly affirms that women's choices and rights to sexual and reproductive health care should be respected, regardless of COVID-19 or their COVID-19 status. At this challenging time, healthcare workers can continue supporting multi-sectoral efforts towards the elimination of FGM by 2030 by striving to ensure quality care is provided for girls and women with FGM health complications, consistent with, of course, the WHO COVID-19 safety measures and WHO guidance on FGM clinical management. So, the WHO wants us to end FGM in 2030. Do you think that's possible?
Yes. I think that's actually very possible if everyone should actually take action. So if as in at the level of individuals we talk about it. So when we had a case whereby somebody does not even know about it at all. So during our last training, one of the participants was like, he was scared. We immediately got to me, I had to go and ask, did you circumcise my child? Because he was a baby, he was a girl, and he was not even sure if it was done or not. But thank God the grandmother was educated. And in his own case, it was even the so-called nurse that said, do you want to circumcise her? So we've had issues around medicalization of FGM, whereby some people believe that, okay, if we don't do it under the bushel, or we just come to the a kind of hospital setting and we use the scalpel, we use the and everything will be fine. No, it's not fine, because even though anesthesia and all are actually administered and the immediate pain is not felt, it does not stop the long-term consequences, the psychological consequence, the fact that it can cause sexual dysfunction, the fact that it can cause prolonged and obstructed labor and all those things. It doesn't stop them. And aside from that, some doctors have even seen that it can even lead to more cuts, because you're holding an instrument. So, and that can even be, and we've had cases actually that a girl that was actually being mutilated died right there in the hospital. So, although that was not in Nigeria, but it's a sad case. So, we really need to see to it that, okay, this is not happening. So, and aside from that, it's against their
it's against the law. Oath. It's against the law of the country. We don't even need to go far.
It's against their oath. So, but we have a whole lot of health practitioners. They know this. They even tell people that they should not. So we have a whole lot of them that say they should not circumcise the girl child. So, but we still have some that their cultural belief overshadows their
Hippocratic
yes. And most of the time, these people are at the community level that might not be even trained doctors and nurses. That they just get there by being an auxiliary or something. Yes, so they're not really trained, but they just feel that that person too is a nurse, and they will just carry their child, and that's what they believe. So that's an area whereby a lot of work has been done, and we know that even though they have a statistics that 13% of FGM in Nigeria is actually through medicalization.
Wow.
So we hope that we have a reduction in this, because at the grassroots level especially, but they've been sensitized, and they even tell them during antenatal not to circumcise their
children.
I know that in some part of the country, the essence of circumcising this girl child is for them to be able to it's for them to be attractive to suitors, for the purpose of child marriage, and they see children that are not caught as or girls that are not caught as unclean, and they won't be attracted to those men that wants to marry them at that age. So these are two issues. I mean, the first one is the issue of child marriage and courting. How do you balance it up? What kind of education can you give to that woman who believes that I have lots of girls, and if 3 of them can go at say age 13, 14 because of the cultural belief, and knows that what will push those girls out will be that they have to be caught?
Okay, so first off, those statements you made are myths of FGM. They are not true, but they are statements used to promote the practice of FGM. So you saying that a child is unclean because the child has not been caught or is not prepared for marriage is not true, because we've actually seen girls who were not caught and who have gotten married.
No, I'm saying that those were part of the reasons
they
do it in some community.
I think you're both saying
in Nigeria.
There are misconceptions, basically.
I'm trying to provide the facts.
Okay.
So those statements.
Okay, so you will provide the facts to the person that says that.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are the facts. There are children also who, the second myth you mentioned, who were not mutilated and are doing really fine. And also people back it up with religion, saying this is what their religion supports it. But over the years we've seen that there is no religious book where they actually come out to say yes, we support the practice of FGM on our children. And also about achieving the goal by 2030, we think that yes, we could be able to achieve it because of the intergenerational difference that we have now. So now young girls who are also growing up to be mothers, everybody is trying to put effort, the UNFPA, UNICEF, trying to put effort to educate everyone, and also everyone is trying to be exposed to the fact that why would you even cut something that is not even affecting me? Why would you cut it from the girl child?
Let's take a short break. Let's listen to what some of the people, survivors and practitioners, have to say about this practice.
Orúkọ mi ni Mrs. Yusuf Eso. Mo ń gbé ní àdúgbò Mọ́sálà ní Muslim area Ìbàdàn. Mo ń ṣe iṣẹ́ tí mo ń ṣe ní medical lab scientist, civil servant. So nípa ìrírí tí mo rí nípa ti àdágbẹ́ fóbìnrin ni wípé mo rí pé kò dáa rárá, torí there was a time tó yẹ pé àwọn woman kan ọmọ yẹn ti wà níbi primary 4 wọ́n wá lọ dábẹ́ fún, wọ́n ṣe dábẹ́ fún yẹn wọ́n ní àwọn nǹkan kan tó jẹ́ pé ó yẹ kí ó ṣe ara lóore nínú ara, wọ́n ti bá gé dànù. So ìgbà tó wá di pé gẹ̀yẹn marry, at the end of the day òun àtọkọ ẹ̀ ṣáà máa ń jà ní ṣáṣáṣáṣá. Later tán wá find out pé kí ló dé tí wọ́n máa ń jà, ni ọkọ ẹ̀ bá sọ pé ìdí rẹ̀ máa ń yọ̀ tó ń bá ti ní intercourse pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Àwọn pa nǹkan yẹn ò tó nǹkan tí wọ́n máa divorce. Ó lẹ́lẹ́kejì ni pé tó bá tó fẹ́ bímọ pé wàhálà ni. pé to the extent ìgbà tó sọ pé òun ò lè bímọ ju ẹyọ kan tóun ti bí yẹn lọ so since then mo náà wá wò pé abẹ́ tán dá fọmọ yìí wọ́n ti ní ká máa dábẹ́ fọmọbìnrin náà ìkan náà tún wá ṣẹlẹ̀ ìyẹn o tiẹ̀ ti wá wà ní láì ní medical lab nígbà yẹn wọ́n á rẹ́ nìyẹn tán ní wọ́n dábẹ́ fún ọmọ kékeré ni wọ́n wá ní wọ́n ṣe mistake níbi ìdí ẹ̀ ibẹ̀ yẹn wá wú débi pé wọ́n rò pé cancer of the vagina ni wọ́n ṣàtúnlọ̀ bá ṣe operation yẹn so àtìgbà yẹn mo wá ti wá rí àwọn èèyàn máa ń sọ pé ẹ má máa dábẹ́ fún yàn mọ́ bí early 2000 this millennium year tá a wà yìí àwọn èèyàn pinlẹ̀ dábẹ́ mọ́ná wọ́n ti understand pé kán má dábẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n àwọn kan sì wà tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n ṣì ń dábẹ́ fọmọbìnrin tẹ́ pé wọ́n dẹ̀ ní dá lọ hospital torí wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé wọ́n ní bá wọn dábẹ́ ní hospital ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n máa lọ sí ilé àwọn olùkọlà tán máa ń kọlà fún ọmọ so advice mi tí mo máa sọ ni pé kán jọ kí wọ́n má máa dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin mọ́ fún àìlera gan ó máa ń fa àìlera fún ọmọbìnrin tí ọmọbìnrin bá dẹ̀ tún fẹ́ bímọ àwọn nǹkan ti wà tọ́lọ́run ti ṣe sílẹ̀ tó yẹ kó máa jẹ́ kó ọmọ wá freely tí wọ́n á ti gbé dànù àti ti àwọn ọkùnrin náà tó yẹ pé wọ́n á sọ pé àwọn enjoy sex pẹ̀lú ẹni tí wọ́n bá dábẹ́ fún so ìyẹn advice mi fún wọn pé kán mọ̀ máa dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ni wípé fún awareness àwọn èrò torí náà irú kò ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn ló mọ̀ irú àwọn ìyá tó ń tajà tó ń ṣe gbogbo yẹn wọn ò mọ̀ pé kò yẹ kán dábẹ́ torí up to this moment wọ́n sì ń lọ ilé òǹkọlà lọ dábẹ́ ìgbọ́n tó bá ṣe awareness lórí rédíò àwọn mídíà àti kọ́ńdẹ̀ polongo rẹ̀ nínú ọjà tó àwọn ìyá wọ̀nyẹn wọ́n á ṣe understand pé kò yẹ kán dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin náà.
This was brought to you by One Life.
Welcome back. Yes, we're here. You just heard from that lady, a practitioner, talking about some of the, experiences regarding FGM. I've still got Dr. Santamilora in the building, and together. Yes, BYZ is here as well. I'm sorry. BYZ is here.
No, they know, sir.
They know exactly, and we've been talking about FGM. So, Dr. Santamilora, you said the theme for this year. Please remind us.
No time for global inaction. Unite, fund, and act to end FGM.
Fantastic. So, how do you guys get funding? Like, what do people do to fund, the fight against FGM?
Okay. Before I answer that question, I actually want to shed more light to what my colleague has said before. Okay. She was talking about intergenerational differences. So, research has also shown that women aged 15 to 49, more of them are opposed to FGM compared to the older women. So that means we're actually making an impact. And there was a question that you asked then, talking about women that would say, okay, we were circumcised when we were younger and nothing happened to us. So the response we also give to women like that is that because the abnormal in quotes became their own normal, so they did not even know the difference. So because they just felt like, okay, childbearing should also always be painful, should always be this difficult, but now we have like a standard to see, okay, see the difference. The woman that wasn't circumcised, the person is actually fine. So and also because of the fact that issues around sexual and reproductive health is always spoken about in hushed tones and people don't like talking about it, there are a lot of people that have issues and they can't even talk about it, so they just keep it and they will say they want to protect their own. So meanwhile they are not talking about the consequences they are felt. But if some of them would actually say the truth, they will mention the pain and the fact that, okay, they are also passing through some things. And going to funding, generally funding for FGM has actually been dropping. That's globally, not just in Nigeria, and we can associate some of this to the current pandemic, but it's a general thing. So, and that is why the UN body is calling on state government and all that. Everybody have to take responsibility. So that's this time around is not a matter.
What would you say the average person can do to ensure that these laws that have been enacted, like the VAP one that prescribes that FGM is illegal, what can the average person that notices in their neighborhood or in their community that kind of practice is going on, what can they do? Is it report to the police or report to who?
Okay, it's against the law. That's one. And they can actually report to the police. But what we emphasize more is that we should prevent this, because if the child has been caught, it can be reversed. Obviously. So if you know that they want to call the child, that is when you should actually shout out. So like educate people. We all have social media handles. We can talk about it. Just lend your voice. Tell your friends about it. Post it on your social media accounts. And even when you when you see somebody that wants to do it, you can call on NGOs like One Life Initiative. Please come and educate this person. Some people have done that. That's okay. Please, I need you to educate somebody. She wants to circumcise her daughter, and I don't want her to do that. So by the time we come in, we educate them. Then we know that okay, this person would. And if they also want clerics to talk to them, we have clerics that we work with that can talk to them. That okay, this practice is a very harmful one. So, and they should not do that. That's the least we can do.
Okay, you want to add more to what she's just said?
Yeah, I want to, because as we've seen globally, it's not only in Nigeria where the laws are not implemented. So there is a need to also enlighten the law enforcement agencies, including the police, the vigilantes. They are actually close to people in the community. So once you see that this practice has gone on, take it up. So they need to actually also learn where to report to, where to take the girl to, and things like that.
Okay, how much support is available from the government? Maybe at the local governments, at the states, at the federal? Are they really, helping in this awareness program? Is there any form of support they're given to help people to know more about, the ills of this practice?
Okay, so last year the government partnered with an organization who did an activity on FGM towards the end of last year. But then there's still need for them to do more. We need the government to not rely on NGOs or funders to be able to fund this. They need to start putting out a budget for programs like this and for things like this on awareness and sensitizations about ending FGM in the country and in their community.
And I also believe that the primary health care centers actually are very, very key when it comes to this, because they are closest to people. So they are around localities, and we know that okay, they mentioned it during antenatal, but if they can do more of this, so they actually monitor them, so that okay, when you bring a child up, you did not call this child, like tell people, let them know. And also I think we can also work with the TBA, because we know there's a lot of women that still go to the TBA. So okay, educate them, let them know that
TBA, for those that don't know what that means.
Okay, a traditional birth attendant.
So like mission houses and women.
Yes. So that they just want to let them know the impact of this. And also we can have jingles, we can use mass media to educate people about this.
Okay, because of time, we want to say thank you very much to my people from One Life Initiative, Dorcas, Famuyegun, and Tamilore Omojola. I've got Femi Akonde in the building already. Shout out to you guys, and thank you very much for coming through to talk through this year's theme on World End FGM Day. BY is the last words.
Okay.
For the girl child.
For the girl child, I think.
And the mothers of the girl child.
You really do not have to, create a passage where there is none, or where there is no need to create one, when there is no need for one. And I think that should actually be the message, because if you think there is you need to link something, there should be a reason for it. So based on everything you have said, it is endless. It is baseless, rather, for anyone to want to cut a daughter. So I think the message to parents, to mothers, I think parents generally, yes, mothers and fathers, is that this has to stop. And if you know anybody that wants to do it around you, don't allow it to be done. Come out first. Speak out before it happens.
Very nicely said. I'll just add that it is against the law, and if it wasn't a problem, I don't think the United Nations would dedicate one day in the year,
to commemorate
it and to create and for people to be aware. Our population is large, so when we count the numbers of people that have been affected by it in comparison to other countries, it comes into the millions, just because of the sheer amount of us as Nigerians.
And I think the awareness is also more essential in Oyo State, especially because I think it ranks as one of the highest states still practicing FGM. Yes, it does. It does compared to in Nigeria. Yes,
at least states in the southwest.
In the southwest,
exactly.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies, for coming through. We appreciate you. We're out of time for this, the other news extra. FGM extra, that's what we're calling it tonight. We're going to take a commercial break right now. When I come back, we'll continue on the road show for today. Don't go anywhere, don't touch that dial.
My country people.
Nigeria na him be oga for the wahala of court of punani for the world wey oyinbo man dey call female genital mutilation FGM. Mama pale post everybody dem make I tell una say if you dey do this kind bad thing na im be say una dey trespass on top our girl pikin plus women dem right to. This kind bad thing sef dey make women no dey fit born pikin, dey make omoyan no dey sweet for dem, even sef fit cause make woman kpai. Make una no forget say na ogbonge lie say woman pikin wey dem no cut her punani go dey follow man up and down, and make una remember say woman wey wan follow man go dey follow am wella. Country people, time don reach o wey this kind yamayama thing must stop. Oya, make we gather and join body come pursue this kind thing comot for we area patapata. Make we see say our girls and women dey safe papampa for this court wey oyinbo man dey call female genital mutilation. Unto say injury to one woman na injury to we society o. This message na from One Life Initiative for Human Development.